Welcome to the show, guys. Welcome to the show. Another day, another live. Today, we're going to talk about the altcoins because when I'm looking at the charts today, something fascinating has happened. BTC not moving too much, it's kind of moving sideways, but other coins, like for example, SUI, Aptos, Helium, and XYZ, some of these altcoins have started to pump. Right, and that's a big thing for us because that's exactly what we was looking for. If we want to see the altcoins push forward, we need this, right? So far I'm quite happy that we're actually seeing another move being made by the altcoins, and this time it looks fairly sustainable. Also, when I'm talking about looks, I'm also talking about the technical patterns, especially the stochastic RSI, and the way it looks right now. So far it's looking fairly good. Right, it's looking fairly good. Let me get to the chats up as well, so at least that way I could see the chats as well. So I'm not sure if you guys could see anything, but I will try and get the chats in there. Right, yep, that's good. Right, so yeah, so the way I'm looking at it is basically we might have an opportunity right now to start actually pumping forward. You know what I mean? So if we can, then I think things are going to get really interesting because of yeah, I'm not sure what's going on. Anyway, if you're here, guys, please let me know. If you're here on the chats, let me know. So because I'm using a different application, this one is streaming everywhere, if I'm correct. Yeah, it's streaming everywhere, so Facebook, Twitch, YouTube, you name it, everywhere. I just wanted to try this thing out. So when we look at the altcoins right now, a lot of the indicators, especially, forget the daily, I'm not concerned about the daily. The daily indicators are all good. They're all bullish, right? Some of them are even overbought, right? So we're not concerned about those. But when I'm looking at the 3-day, the 5-day, especially the 5-day, we have one more day to complete for the 5-day. Then we're going to see a nice little pump there. I see Adam, nice to see you, my brother. Someone says let's rock and roll. I have no idea what's going on, but I've just decided to stream it everywhere. So this one's being streamed on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Instagram, I believe. I don't know if it's working or not, but anyway, so when I'm seeing some of these alts start to move, especially on the 5-day, we're getting a nice little signal, just a similar way we had a signal a few days ago for BTC telling us that we have a big move coming. When, we don't know, but there's a big move coming. Similar way, the alts have now given us a signal, and it's on the 5-day candles. You can actually see a nice little signal coming up saying we are going to start moving forward. So it's very interesting, right? I'm looking at that now. On the 3-day, we are actually about to well, we've already confirmed we are bullish, definitely bullish there. So I'm excited there. And then when I look at the altcoins today, I've been spending a lot of time with the altcoins, looking at the market, looking at which one's dipped a little bit, which one hasn't. So the coins that pumped recently, they are kind of bleeding out, which is absolutely fine, not to worry. Those are the ones we would want to pick up if we are interested in buying any of these dips. However, all right, okay, so sorry, I was just checking out the chats. However, some of the other alts have started to lead, and that's exactly what we wanted to see, guys. Remember what we said. We need BTC to move sideways, which is exactly what's happening, and we need altcoins to start leading, right? 10%, 15%, 20%, whatever, they lead. So today, BTC was hovering around nothing. It didn't do even a percentage, right? It was hovering around, I think currently just went to 98K. But SUI, Arbitrum, Helium Network, Pengu, even Pengu's done 8% today, right? So those moves are what we take into account because they are telling us that, guys, alts don't care what BTC is doing right now. That's exactly what we need. So this is going to give us a better opportunity in the market, and we are actually going to see some significant pumps coming very soon as well. So market's back at $3.41 trillion, which I'm really happy with. BTC hovering around 98K, don't really care. It can go below. We don't really care about that because now for the first time, well, actually second time, alts are proving that they want to lead, right? Because this is an altcoin season and the alts are saying we want to lead. So that's what's happening right now. So very interesting to see Ethereum, for example, at 3,600 was not affected by BTC's volatility today. Crow pumping again, not being affected. Say was doing really good earlier on, and some of my other indicator coins are also pumping as well. And I call them indicator coins because what I normally notice is they will start pumping if the market is bullish. So these are the the ones that kind of indicate if we're in a bull market or not, right? And if the market wants to continue or not. So that's what I'm seeing so far. So far, so good. Now, another thing I want to talk about today, and this is quite funny, right? I obviously look at stocks as well, right? But I don't talk about stocks here. And there are two specific stocks that I've been looking at recently, right? And just kind of using them as an indicator to kind of give me a forecast on what the crypto markets may look like, right? So that was my kind of an idea. Why am I not seeing chats? Yeah, so I'm just trying to see where the chat. Oh, I see. I see. Now I can see the chats. Okay. Hello, bro. You police? I'm Russia. I'm not a police, and welcome, my brother. Bubble, nice to see you, my brother. Someone says, am I police? No, I'm not police. Oh, do I look like a police? Oh, no, this is not police, man. I'm not a police now. So anyway, so I've been looking at MicroStrategy, and MicroStrategy today, the stocks was pumping around 13%. MicroStrategy was pumping 13%. Now, this gives me a good, nice little indicator to forecast something and say, guys, if the people who are holding MicroStrategy felt that BTC is not going to make a move, the alts are not going to make a move, then they would be dumping and exiting the market, right? But if they're buying now, that means internally they are very bullish. So we see a 13% pump in MicroStrategy compared to SUI doing 10%. You see what I mean? So that's a good sign for us. We know that the forecast is good. There's going to be positive stuff happening there, right? Also, when I look at MicroStrategy, I also like to look at NASDAQ as well. And that's something I also look at anyway. NASDAQ is also positive today. So currently sitting at 21,326. Very positive today. Again, these things forecast what the stock market will do, what the institutional investors would do. So seeing all of these things, I'm super bullish. Right now, I'm highly excited, hence why I'm looking at all my crypto bubbles and looking at all the coins and all the opportunities that we've been looking at. So there are a bunch of coins that we were looking at. For example, I mentioned another coin a couple of days ago. I said AI16Z as an AI coin. It is on the exchanges. Have a look at it. No financial advice. Do whatever you want to do. So that's what I was looking at. So I'm just excited, and I thought I'll kind of talk about it with you guys so you understand what I'm seeing right now. It's like the second time, as I said, like before, we've had another thing where alts wanted to push forward, but unfortunately BTC was still in the kind of what do you call this, BTC was in the spotlight and it just didn't help, right? So now first time we're seeing BTC not in the spotlight, but other coins are now starting to move, which is going to be awesome. Paprika says Russia good. Private TV, and I don't know what that is, bro. So I'm sorry, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't speak Russian. You're welcome here, by the way, and plenty of my friends are from Europe and everything. Not an issue, but I just don't understand what you're saying. So if you like to stick to the topic, yeah, carry on, we'll talk, no problem. But I'm not here for too long. I'm actually going to be here maximum for 30 minutes, which I said 30 minutes, which means that you have probably another 20 minutes with me and then I'm gone. Right, so we are going to get into the point where you guys could ask me questions and whatnot, and we'll talk about it. But right now, I just wanted to talk about the market, talk about what I'm seeing right now, especially on the charts. Remember, guys, I don't look at the news, I don't look at any of the other stuff. For me, it's all about the charts, even stock charts, right? As I've just said right now. So when I'm looking at certain stocks, certain companies, tracking them as well, and seeing how their stocks are performing right now, it gives me a rough idea of what the market will be doing as well in crypto, right? So far, everything is screaming very, very bullish, right? Unless we get a black swan event, which I hope we don't have. But so far, everything looks super solid to me. That's how I'm seeing this, right? So I think this is going to be quite interesting, and we should see a parabola soon, right? Parabola soon. Parabola is what we really want to see, especially in the altcoins, because that's going to give us the big push upwards. Remember, a few live streams ago, I mentioned this as well. So guys, we still have 5x to maybe even possible 10x remaining in some of these altcoins, right? Of course, anything that's doing new price discovery, I'm not too concerned about. Those ones are different, guys. We're not bothered about those. But anything that is currently you know, like it's an old legacy coin or maybe 6 months old or whatever, right? But it's not in a price discovery. It dumped and it never recovered back to its all-time high. Those ones have 5x to 10x remaining in them. That's how I'm looking at it, right? So of course it's just me. None of this is financial advice. You do whatever you want to do. So that's my segment. So you guys, if you have any questions, do let me know. Of course, if I know the answer to it or I know what you're talking about, then yeah, definitely we'll talk about it. Money says, when the expected dump before the last leg? When? I don't know when, brother, because we were expecting a crash. We were expecting a crash, right? A pullback, pretty much from the end of November to the end of December. When we did get one, we actually got that correction in December, a 15%. So it wasn't the best correction. However, the reason we expected a 20 to 25% was because of past performance. But again, if past performance, like past performance doesn't tell us that the future is going to be the same. So maybe this time 15 was the best we were going to get, which is fine. So we got a 15% correction. Now we're looking for a parabola. And after the parabola, we might see the big dump. In fact, yesterday, I was talking to someone on the live stream and they mentioned, are we going to expect a dump before the 20th of January because of Trump's inauguration? Now, I did mention to them, I said, look, Trump's got bigger fish to fry. It's got nothing to do with that, right? I don't think crypto is going to do probably the news or whatever, but nothing more than that. However, if there is going to be any kind of a black swan, that could be it. Do you know what I mean? But it won't bother us if we're sitting at current level. It doesn't matter. It's not going to really affect the market. However, if we do a parabola from now, so for example, if BTC shoots up towards 150k, 200k, or for example, Ethereum goes to 8k, maybe 10k, or other alts start to do a 5x to a 10x right now, then the big dump would be a black swan, and that could happen. You know what I mean? But so far, the indicators or the chart, because we talk about the chart, the candles, those patterns do not suggest anything like that. And of course, I can only tell you when I see the data. But so far, I'm just seeing really positive stuff. So it looks very positive, and I think we are going to go forward from there. So yeah, right now, don't see a dump at all. So I don't see a dump at all, brother. So we're kind of safe for at least another 4 weeks, based on the charts, obviously. But I've kind of forecasted. I said, look, guys, even it looks like we're going to be safe until March, end of March. So far so good, because prior to that it was end of February, and now I've moved it 1 month forward because of the data. Umar Ahmed says, what are your thoughts on XRP? XRP is awesome. XRP, I've been talking about it, and I said, look, my XRP target for this cycle is around $10. I know other people are screaming and shouting $20, $30, $100. Someone even says $500. For me, mathematically, by the way, we can get to $500. I don't see a problem, right? Mathematically, we can get to $500, but with this current state of market, I don't think that's probable, right? So I'm being a little bit more logical here, and I'm saying, look, $10 is a good number. But saying $10, I've been kind of banging on about $10 for some time now, but I think I've talked about it when it was like 20 or 30 cents. So a lot of people might see it from now, like, oh, it's at $2.40 and this guy's saying $10, so he's saying 4x from now. Actually, no, I've been going on about $10 since it was like 30 or 40 cents. You see what I mean? So if you do the maths from there, that's a lot of X's, right? So that's what I'm saying. But the reason I have behind that as well, because I'm thinking, look, if we get to $10, that gives the total fully diluted market cap of XRP to be $1 trillion, which is reasonable. Even if we get to $20, it's still possible. That gives us a $2 trillion market cap. But we have to see, do we have $2 trillion to throw at it? Do you know what I mean? Now, we do know that XRP is bringing, right, another $40 trillion in tokenized stocks and everything, right? But that's coming through various other platforms, coming through them and various other platforms. But that's more for institutional stuff, like a private blockchain stuff, enterprise stuff. So is that really going to be available to the crypto? Is it going to pump crypto? We don't know. Do you see what I mean? So just got to be a bit cautious with that. Adam says, if XRP goes public, that will that push up the price of the coin? Not necessarily, Adam. So XRP going public, it will definitely boost its company shares, definitely boost his company shares, which is exactly why Brad Garlinghouse, he said, look, we're not looking to go public, because a lot of people get confused with why he doesn't want to go public. He's making, you mentioned this as well, he's making a lot of money by dumping XRP. If he goes public, he can't dump. There's things he can't do, because then it will be like manipulation. He legally can't do that. So if they go public, the company valuation will be huge. You see what I mean? They will be huge, but they have to. You see, in order to work in the regulated world, right, or regulated finance system, and have everybody incorporate and work with them, institutions work with them, they have to actually be a registered company, which they are, and they have to be publicly traded as well in order to trade with other countries. So there are certain laws around the world that they have to. So that's what's going to happen. So it's coming, by the way. I know it's coming. When it's going to come, I don't know. But the crypto, it wouldn't really affect it. However, the hype could pump the price up. The hype could. So when you hear the rumor, buy the rumor, sell the news. So that's what's going to happen, what I believe anyway. Money says, what do you think XLM? $5 minimum? Possible, possibly even more. Possibly even more, because XLM is technically the decentralized, so far we know, as the decentralized version of XRP. Because remember, the founder of XLM used to be the original founder, one of the original founders of XRP as well. And they had a bit of a dispute. One kept it kind of centralized, which is XRP, kind of centralized. I think fully centralized, but XLM is more decentralized, apparently. Again, nobody knows the 100% truth. I'm sure we'll find out later on, right? Anything that's mentioned, most of the projects that have mentioned how they're decentralized turned out they're not decentralized. So $5, possibly even $10, I don't see a reason why not. Again, you got to look at the tokenomics, you got to understand the maths and say, okay, is it possible? Now, when you're talking about XRP, XLM, you can't miss the others, the XDC, the HBAR, and all of that. You can't miss all of them, because remember, if there are anything that are centralized or part of the ISO 2022, whatever you call it, 0222, whatever ISO thing, right? Those projects are all enterprise projects. They're all backed and financially supported by enterprises and institutions. So all of them will pump. We might end up seeing new numbers for them. So anything that's sitting at 10 cents, expect at least $1 for them. Anything that's sitting at $1, expect to see at least $4 or $5 for them. Do you know what I mean? So easily 5 to 10x. 5x minimum, 10x, you know, there's nothing wrong with that. So if something's sitting at 50 cents, expect $5, no problem. Do you know what I mean? So that's how I'm looking at it anyway. So yeah, there's a potential for things to pump there. So yeah. Money says, you've seen the 1989 World Economic Forum article, got the XLM logo in the middle of the flaming eagle. This is 30 years, planned 30 years back. Possible. You want to go down that conspiracy route, we just don't have the time today, but I would love to. A lot of the things that when we talk about technology and all the other stuff, I have mentioned it on another video, not long ago, actually, recently, I believe. I mentioned it. I said, guys, if you start looking at when the computer was first created, when the first conversation about a digital currency was first had, because the first conversation was in Cornell University. I can't remember the professor's name. He actually proposed to make a digital currency in 1955 to make a digital currency so that they can stop fraud and all sorts of money going away in drugs and this and that. He actually spoke about this back in 1955. So the conversation's been going on for a long time. So Bitcoin's not a new idea, it's just the most established one, because even before that, from the 80s, from the 90s, there were other people trying to work on a form of digital currency, you know. And the banks know about it, and I've talked about this as well. So guys, from the 60s, since the 60s, when the first internet came out, when banks were able to go online, we've technically had digital currency because they were just moving numbers. Even now, the Federal Reserve doesn't really print money. They just say it, we print money, but they don't actually print money. Even Bank of England, they don't print money. They just press a button and make the money appear. You know what I mean? So that's the reality. So when you look at that, if you go into that particular conspiracy, then either XLM stole the logo from there, or it was planned 30 years ago. Question is, the founder of XLM or XRP, how old were they then? You know what I mean? So Money says Bitcoin is the beta test coin. I don't see why not. I think Bitcoin is a beta or a backup. You know, yes, it was an experiment that went out of control. I can believe that. An experiment that went out of control. I don't see a reason why not. Adam says, all these coins that are institutionally backed, when the crash does eventually happen, do you advise to sell up before it happens and then rebuy or hold strong? Sell, bro, sell. Listen, Adam, always remember, you should have a rule, and your rule, this is your rule. This is not the market rule. This is not the bull market rule, the bear market rule, none of that. This is your rule. Your rule should be, you're in it for the money. If your $1 becomes $2, the first thing you do, you take your $1 away. That means you take your initial investment away. Then if you think the bull market's about to end, right? And I've been mentioning this is the beginning of the end, which means the beginning of the end of the bull market. Could last another 6 months, maybe another year, we don't know, but at least we need to prepare for it, right? So as long as we know it's the beginning of the end, we're prepared for it. So if you feel that market's going to go south, and we get all those strong signals saying, guys, now market's going to go south, confirmed, we're going down, there's no ifs and buts, we're going to sit down and wait for the market to go down. At that time, you're better off selling it, because if you sold it, then you got the profit, you already have your initial, and then when the bottom of the market, that's when you buy, right? So when we decide it's the bottom of the market, when we think, okay, this is a good area, this probably is the bottom of the market, that's when you buy and stay and hold strong. You hold in a bear market bottom. That's when you buy and hold. You don't need to worry about anything, no stop loss, nothing. You just buy and hold. In a bull market, it's all about protecting your funds. Stop loss, stop loss, stop loss. You see what I mean? So it's all about psychology. You have to have good psychology. It's always the reverse. So in a bull market, you should panic, be afraid, because the market's going to end any day. In a bear market, you buy because you should be thinking the opposite, where the bull market's going to start any day. You see what I mean? So it's always the reverse psychology. So whatever the market we're in, we have to do the opposite, right? So bull market, we prepare to sell, and a bear market, we prepare to buy and hold, right? So I hope that kind of makes sense. So that's the most important thing. And yes, anything that's institutionally backed, who do you think is going to dump first? It's either you or them. So that's how the market works. Because look, it's all about making money. It's all about making money, you know? And then you have people like myself who are trying to accumulate more and more coins, you know what I mean? So then there's a whole different strategy, but same thing. I won't buy in a bull market. That's why I tell people, I said, guys, don't buy in a bull market. If you do, make sure to have a stop loss or something. Adam says, I'm predominantly in XRP. What if it goes to 10? I sell up, and then when it drops, it stays above $2 long term. I'd lose out, if that makes sense. Sorry, how do you lose out? I don't really get it. If you're in XRP and it goes to, right now, today it's to $2.40, and it goes to $10 and you sell, how do you lose out? I just don't get it, because if it goes back to $2, then you buy it back for $2. You've got yourself around 80% profit. How do you lose out? Doesn't make any sense. Bro, from here, if you go up, say for example, we go to $10, let's just do it differently. We go to $10, right? Say it's a 4x from here. If it's a 4x, that's 400% from here, the valuation. Well, you got 300% of that is profit. So now if it goes back down to $2, when you sold it at 10, it goes to $2, for example, right? You're buying with free money. You could have the same, if not double the quantity, and have some profit and your initial back and go and enjoy life. Because even if you invest just 50% of the total valuation, that's double the quantity than you had before. Think about it. So how do you lose out? I don't really get that. But again, how do you lose out ROI over time as well? It doesn't make any sense, right? Hold on. I've got 100 XRP. My 100 XRP, just for the sake of this, right? Let's just say, example, my 100 XRP is worth $1 each. So it's $100. Example here, right? Tomorrow, if my 100 XRP is now worth 500 XRP, right? 500 XRP, then I've made $400 profit, right? With the same amount of XRP. If it dumps back to $1 per XRP, then now I have $400 extra to buy whatever I want, and I can buy double, triple, quadruple the quantity. So hold on, how do you, it doesn't make any sense. Unless you're thinking the opposite. Oh, what if I sell at $10 and it goes to $100? Then yeah, you're going to miss out on the ROI. You see what I mean? But if it goes to $10 from today, and then it comes back to $2 and you sold it at $10, you're the boss, because now you can buy 5 times the quantity. So I don't know what. Yeah, then how do you lose out? Money, how do you lose out? I don't understand. Sorry, you explained. You just said to me, if you're buying at 60 cents and it goes up to $10, dumps back to $2, right? So if you sold at $10 and you buy back at $2, don't you buy more? Don't you get more for your money? Because as far as I can see, you'll get more for your money. I don't understand where this conversation is coming from. Yes, my brother KR, what's happening, my brother? Chaos is going back to the start. Got a headache. Yeah, I'm not going to be here for too long anyway, bro. I did say to everyone I'm going to be here for like half an hour, so I've got about another 10 minutes and then I'm gone. I don't plan to do a nice long one today. That's the reason why I said to everyone I'm going to be there. I'm going to be here only for 30 minutes. But yeah, money, does that make sense to you? And Adam, does it make sense to you? Because I mean, write it down. Please, I want you to write it on a piece of paper and say today's price is $2.40. It goes to $10. I have XYZ amount of coins, 100 coins, 1,000 coins, 1,000,000 coins, and it goes to that price. If I sell there and I buy it back at $2, how many more coins do I get for the same amount of money? Do the maths. So Adam says, but if you stayed strong and it goes above 10, then you make more. Yeah, 100%. 100%. So if you want to stay strong while we buy more in the bear market, by all means. Because if you want to buy more during that time, that means you're going to have to get more money. And that's one thing I don't promote. I don't promote to people to go and get more and more money and keep on putting it into a black hole, because technically it's a black hole. You don't do that. You recycle your money. In a bull market, you sell. In a bear market, you buy. So you accumulate more. So if you had 100 coins, now in a bull market, for example, you sold the top. In a bear market, you could have double the quantity, if not quadruple the quantity. So you got to think about it that way. But it's each to their own, guys. As I said, I'm not here to give you financial advice. Those kind of stuff I do elsewhere. So Money says, obviously certain folks like to hold. I'm out soon. Exactly. So for me, listen, I've got my strategy. I'm moving my stop losses. At the end of the day, I'm not interested in holding in a bear market, because I want to buy and hold in a bear market. You know what I mean? Because I want double the quantity. So it is what it is. There, see my brother. And then you're trailing stop loss and run. So when it does drop, you're out towards the top. Yeah, exactly. You know, but each to their own. Adam, if you believe in XRP, my brother, and there's nothing wrong with that, okay? If you believe in XRP and you think that, okay, I want to be in it for another 5 years, another 10 years, by all means, if this is all you want to hold, so if you bought 1,000 coins or maybe 10,000 XRP and you just want to hold that for another 10 years, by all means, there's nothing wrong with that. That's a good thing if you believe in it, right? And I respect that. My hat's off to you, right? All I'm saying is if you sell the top and you buy it back again at $2, regardless if you bought it at 10 cents. So even if you bought it at 10 cents and you sell it for $10 and it goes back to $2 and you buy it again, you're still going to have more coins than you had before, and you still can hold it for another 10 years. There's nothing wrong with that. You see what I mean? Ultimately, the best game to play is the one that you're not invested anymore. So if you can take your initial investment out, even if it's $1,000, $10,000, doesn't matter what it is, right? If you can take that out, boy, you're going to sit there and you're going to laugh your head off, because the market going up or down doesn't hurt you. So that's the key, my brother. That's the key. That's what you need to kind of figure out. You know what I mean? That's the one that gets you the money. All about the money. I'm not sure if you guys can read the chat. I think the chat's on the screen. You guys could see the chat as well, right? Let me see. Yeah, you guys could see the chat. Awesome. There you go. No messing around now. You guys will be able to see all the chat. So yeah, when you replay this, you can see what you wrote. So don't say anything stupid, because if you do, everybody around the world on YouTube's going to see it as well. So any other questions, my brothers? Any other questions? Desi, do you have any question? Adam, and who else was there? I can't even see who else was there. What's going on here? Let me get rid of that. Let me see. Oh, wow. Okay, I didn't see. Okay, Africa, money. Okay. Free energy, my brother. I see you, my brother. Do you think that ORNJ and FLR can really go that high, having in mind the number of coins in supply? ORNJ, right, ORNJ, I believe it is. ORNJ, I think it is. I do feel that it has a potential to pump, because if you look at the current market cap, forget the number of coins, it doesn't matter, guys. We're in the territory of now with, for example, SHIB and this and that, the likes of them with trillions of freaking coins, right? And look at the market cap they have. So just focus on the market cap that this has. 8 million market cap. Doesn't matter how many coins it has. If this thing starts pumping, and say, for example, if it goes towards $100 million, because that's easy, right? That's a 10x. So think of it that way. If I buy ORNJ and it goes to $100 million after they launch the DEX and whatever, the Bitcoin DeFi, that's a 10x for me. That's how I'm looking at it. I'm not looking at it in any other way. So I hope that kind of makes sense, right? Flare, a different story. Flare, I believe that they are going to get a lot of partnerships and whatnot. And that, you know, when you do a partnership with another blockchain, usually they buy each other's coins to show support. And that's what's going to happen. So when that happens, I think it's going to be on another level. So, but again, just focus on the money. Don't worry too much about what the coin's going to do. We don't think Flare is going to go to a $10,000 coin. We're not looking at that. We don't think it's going to be another BTC, but it's going to give us a significant amount of gain. That's the most important thing. All right. Desi says, yes, we see the chat, but I couldn't start the chat from the beginning. Oh, okay. I'm not sure, bro. I don't know how this new software works. KR says, when altcoin season, the mad one. Oh, I'm hoping it's this one. I'm hoping this is the one, my brother. CL says, hi guys, will altcoin rally start when ETH tops out or earlier? No, it should be earlier, my brother. To be honest, it should be earlier. It should be now. Ideally, ETH should lead, but it doesn't matter. ETH is not that important. I think everything has an opportunity to move forward, right? And so far, when I'm looking at SUI and all of that, they are leading. They are leading, right? There's no ifs and buts. They are leading very well. Like, for example, SUI today is at $5, new all-time high. And it's going to continue. Do you see what I mean? So there are other altcoins that are leading the market, and there's nothing wrong with that. So don't focus too much on ETH. Yesterday's live stream I mentioned as well, so there could be a time when I'll drop ETH. You know what I mean? Because none of these blockchains are necessarily the only one. Like BTC, if BTC becomes one of those coins that doesn't really do much, then we look at another one. You know, ETH was a potential to be the second place. Well, if ETH loses its momentum and it just becomes stagnant, which it's doing right now, then we look at another coin, not a problem. Layer 1, layer 2. Desi Track says, it's like ripples in the pond, layer 1s, layer 2s. Yes and no. Yes and no. It doesn't matter what layer they are. It doesn't matter what layer they are. Layer 1, layer 2, layer 3. It doesn't matter. We are going to have layer 3 soon. It doesn't necessarily matter. What matters is where the momentum is, right? So we have to separate the market in two segments. One is BTC on its own, which is 57% or 56% of the entire dominance of the market. And then the others are all altcoins. So even Ethereum, every one of them is altcoins. So Bitcoin against everything else. That's how we got to look at the market, right? Now, when we look at it that way, that means they're all in the same category. Any one of those coins can lead. So it doesn't have to be a layer 1 or layer 2. Does that make sense, right? Because we have only two categories, Bitcoin and altcoin, right? And right now, Bitcoin needs to be stagnant and altcoins needs to start moving, which is exactly what's happening, right? And the altcoins need to do 5, 10, 15% per day compared to BTC's 1% a day. That's the ratio we want to go with. And so far, Sui is doing this today, right? And other coins are doing this as well. So that means the altcoin season is here. And when it comes, we can definitely see what KR wants to see, the mad one. Yeah, we want to see the mad one, right? And then, you know, give us another 4 or 5x from here. So Sui right now looking very strong. Even looks like it wants to push towards the $10. So I haven't done an analysis to tell you what the peak would be, but this thing is on an absolute tear. Pingu, for God's sake, Pingu's on a tear. Do you know what I mean? So, the top narrative is AI agent, my brother. AI agent is going to be big. So AI agent, some of them are already popping. They're already doing really, really well. Some of them have already done 400, 500, 600%. I think there's 1 or 2 that have done almost 1,000% already from launch. And exchanges are now putting them on as well because there's, you know, there's money to be made. But AI agents is the biggest narrative this season. AI agents definitely is going to be the biggest narrative, you know. So that's where it is, and that's where I'm looking at as well. So I have been kind of looking at a few bits and bobs, and you know, there's a this you read it says parabola. Yes, my brother, I expect a parabola. I want to see a parabola. Honestly, I'm not joking. I really want to see a parabola. But I don't know when it's going to happen, but I just hope it does. You know what I mean? When it does, it's going to be freaking amazing. Anyway, I've run out of time. I literally got 1 minute and then I'm going to go. What's my favorite AI agent? So there is no such thing as a favorite AI agent at this present moment, but I am looking at AI16Z as one of those coins. I'm looking at what's it called, Virtuals as the platform, that coin. I'm looking at that, and AIXBT, I'm looking at that as well. So those are the 2 I'm currently looking at. There's a couple more I've looked at. They look kind of promising, but I'm not quite sure if I should even mention their name. So I don't have a favorite, if that makes sense, because remember, right now is not the time to look for favorites. All right now I have no intention of mentioning anything that is my favorite. Why? Because we're at the beginning of the end. Whatever we buy now, we buy with a stop loss. And of course, if we pump, then we want to take our initial out, protect ourselves, move the stop losses, and play it safe, basically, just in case we have a pullback. So we need to do that. However, when we enter the bear market, and I know it's the full force bear market, so when we know that, guys, we're going down for the next 3-4 months, right? We've been going down. That's when we can start looking at some of the coins and say, actually, that I like, and this I like, and I'm going to buy this, and I'm going to hold this, because that's what we want to buy and hold. So yeah, Desi says, take care, brother. Take care, bro. Watch you again on the channel. Yeah, no, honestly, I've got to go. So yeah, definitely, I'm going to see you guys later. I'll do another live stream on another day for much longer. Actually, I'm having some issues with my charger as well, but I'll do another longer live stream another time, and we'll do a whole bunch of community engagements. But I just wanted to kind of tell you guys today that, look, guys, altcoins, if you start looking at them on a chart, things are very, very interesting, and they look super, super solid. And I think that they're going to start pushing hard, right? So don't be surprised. Don't be surprised when they do. Things are going to be interesting. And, you know, of course, each to their own. This is not financial advice. You guys do whatever you want to do. Of course, if you want to go and buy and ape into some of the stuff, then good luck to you. But as I said, I'm just a bit cautious, because even if I'm not an influencer, but sometimes I may end up influencing someone, which are unintentionally, and I don't want to do that. So like, I don't want to mention what my favorite coins are or anything like this, because right now is not the time. So I'm just trying to keep everybody grounded before they fly off. Other than that, guys, it's been an absolute pleasure. Like, share, subscribe, and let me catch you guys on another one very soon. Adios, my amigos.